William Turner. William Turner was born in Maiden Lane, Covent Garden, London, England. His father, William Gate Turner, born 27 January 1738 and died 7th of August 1829, was a barber and a wig maker. His mother, Mary Marshall, became increasingly mentally unstable, perhaps in part due to the early death of Turner's younger sister, Helen Turner, in 1786. She died in 1804 after having been committed to a mental asylum in 1799. Possibly due to the load placed on the family by these problems, the young Turner was sent to stay with his uncle on his mother's side in Brentford in 1785, which was then a small town west of London on the banks of the river Thames. It was here he first expressed an interest in painting. A year later he went to school in Margate on the northeast Kent coast. By this time, he had created many drawings which his father exhibited in his shop window. He entered the Royal Academy of Art School in 1789 when he was only 14 years old and was accepted into the academy a year later. Sir Joshua Reynolds, president of Royal Academy at that time, chaired the panel that admitted him. At first, Turner showed a keen interest in architecture, but was advised to keep it to painting by the architect Thomas Hardwick, Jr. A watercolor of Turner's was accepted for the summer exhibition of 1790 after only 1 year's study. He exhibited his first oil painting in 1796, Fisherman at Sea, and thereafter exhibited at the Academy nearly every year for the rest of his life. Although renowned for his oils, Turner is also one of the greatest masters of British watercolor landscape painting. He is commonly known as the Painter of Light. One of his most famous oil paintings, painted in 1838, which hangs in the National Gallery, London. Turner traveled widely in Europe, studying with France and Switzerland in 1802 and studying in the Louvre in Paris in the same year. He also made many visits to Venice. On a visit to Lyme Regis in Dorset, England, he painted a stormy scene, now in the Cincinnati Art Museum. Important support for his works also came from Walter Ramsden Foulkes of Fenley Hall near Audley in Yorkshire, who became a close friend of the artist. Turner first visited Audley in 1797, aged 22, when he commissioned to paint watercolors of the area. He was also attracted to Audley and the surrounding area, and he returned time and time again. The stormy backdrop of Hannibal crossing the Alps is reputed to have been inspired by the storm over Audley's Chivin while Turner was staying at Fenley Hall. Turner was also a frequent guest of George O'Brien Wyndham, 3rd Earl of Egremont, at the Pitworth House in West Sussex, and painted scenes from the grounds of the house of the Sussex countryside, including a view of Chichester Canal that Egremont founded. Petworth House still displays a number of paintings. As he grew older, Turner became more eccentric. He had few close friends except for his father, who lived with him for 30 years, especially, and eventually working as a studio assistant. His father's death in 1829 had a profound effect on him, and thereafter he was subjected to bouts of depression. He never married, although he had 2 daughters by Sarah Danby, one born in 1801 and the other in 1811. He died in the house of his mistress Sophia Caroline Booth, Chimney Walk, Chelsea, on 19 December 1851. He is said to have uttered the last words, "The Son is God," before expiring. At his request, he was buried at St. Paul's Cathedral, where he lies next to Sir Joshua Reynolds. His last exhibition at the Royal Academy was in 1850. The architect Philip Hartwig, who was a friend of Turner's and also the son of an artist tutor, Thomas Hartwig, was one in charge of his funeral arrangements and wrote to those who knew Turner to tell them at the time of his death that I must inform you we have lost him. Turner's talent was recognized early in his life. Financial independence allowed Turner to innovate freely. His mature works is characterized by chromatic palette and broadly applied atmospheric washes of painting, according to David Piper's The Illustrated History of Arts. His later pictures were called fantastic puzzles. However, Turner was still recognized as an artist genius. The influential English art critic John Ruskin described Turner as an artist who could most staringly and truthfully measure the woods and moods of nature. Suitable vehicles for Turner's imagination were to be found in the subjects of shipwrecks, fires, such as burning of Parliament in 1834, an event which Turner rushed to witness firsthand, and which he described and transcribed in a series of watercolor sketches. Natural catastrophes and natural phenomena such as sunlight, storm, rain, and fog. He was fascinated by the violent power of the sea, as seen in Dawn After the Wreck in 1840 and the slave ship in 1840.